Shalom and good day all, this is Tehillim29 back again for another Future State Fool's Gold review. And in this one today we are covering Shazam issue 1 and also the next Batman issue 2. As you can see over here, this is how my rating system works. And this is the currency conversion of each of the comics. The first comic, as you can see there, converts to $7.15, and I also give how much I think it's worth. The other one is the one behind it is $7.99, which is under $15. So let's get started on Shazam. Now, moving on to the rating of the cover. Does this cover match to stuff that happens inside the story? You'd be surprised, but yes, it does. I'm really happy with that, because sometimes you get covers that don't quite match what is happening inside the story, and it comes off as, well, false advertisement. This one actually did a good job, to which I gave the cover rating 7 out of 10, to which I believe it was worth $1.50. Now let's have a look at the internal art, the beginning, middle and end, right. Now this is some art at the beginning of the story. Very incredible. I like the way how this was done, and I enjoyed it, the beginning as well as the middle, and of course the end. So let's move to the middle next. As you can see, it looked like the artist paid a lot of attention to what they were being told script-wise. And it was really nice to see, well, the change from light to dark, to light to red hot dark. And I felt like it brought across the story very well. So let's move on to the end. Now this is towards the end of the story, and through it I gave the art overall 7 out of 10, to which I felt it was also worth the $1.50. The next thing we move on is the story. Now this story takes place sort of like after some of the things that happen in the Shazam title, as well as in relation to some things that happen in the Future State Teen Titans title. And some of the locations that we get to see here in the story is the JLA Bunker, Iron Heights, Philadelphia, and of course, HAL itself in the DC Universe. The cast being made up of Billy Batson, Vic Sage, The Question, which was really good. I enjoyed his appearance in this. Miss Martian, Giganta, the Creeper, Dr. Zubu, and of course Shazam, Constantine, and a couple of others. In this story as well, it revolves around Billy Batson basically doing what he can do to keep hope in the character of Shazam, because as we all know, when Billy Batson calls out Shazam, he turns into Shazam. So in turn, he has to make a deal with pretty much the devil. And it's crazy, but it's a way to keep things intact in the DC Universe. It was an interesting concept, I must admit, to which I gave the story 6 out of 10, to which I felt it was worth, instead of $1.50 like before with the art and also the cover, I felt like it lost, say, 25 cents. So it's $1.25, with the total overall being $4.25. Now, time to move on to the next Batman, issue 2. As we finally move into the next Batman, issue 2, this cover didn't work in relation to the story. No. In that, I sort of felt it flopped very much big time. No hate against the writer, I'm just addressing the story. Jason Fox is Beta Man. Not Batman, but Beta Man. It is interesting here, to which I give the story, or I give the cover for the story 2 out of 10. It didn't feel like it really fit with the story. I think you could have used something different. Now, moving into the internal art, I'll just cover what's at the beginning and also the end of the story. Now, this is some of the art at the beginning of the story, to which I did actually enjoy the art internally. And I'll show you... I'll now move on to some art towards the end of the story and give my rating. Who cares about the spoilers at this point? But I still enjoyed the art. And I also liked what happened here. So the rating I gave for the art was 7 out of 10, to which I believe it was worth $1.50. Now, before I move into the next story, it's time to move into the cast of characters who are in the story. Of course, we've got Nakano, who's connected to the Magistrate, which was interesting. It wasn't a very strong story. But it would be nice to see who exactly the fucking Magistrate is. Like, playing all this subtle shit is going to bore the audience. And this audience is getting bored already. Sure, you've given us things around the Magistrate and around the system of the Magistrate, but never presented the Magistrate themselves to this story. Now, I don't know who's in charge of this, but I think they should get their ass in gear or get fired. Of course, we've got the Tim Fox Batman and also the Peacekeepers that make an appearance in this. The location, well, it's mainly in Gotham. The story also revolved around someone who was, or some parents trying to basically stop some child sex trafficking. I thought that was a good idea within the story, but I'd rather Bruce Wayne be doing that instead of Tim Fox Batman. If you really want to help make Tim Fox his own character, like Jason Fox his own character, alright, listen to this right now and act on it. Stop trying to make Tim Fox Batman. How about you make Jason Fox Gotham's version of Iron Man? Don't forget, doesn't Lex Luthor practically have his own Superman iron suit of his own? Hey, what if that was in fucking Gotham? I'd enjoy that. I would totally enjoy that. Of course, we'd still have Luke Fox as Batwing. And you could call him the Iron Knight. Right? That makes a little bit more sense in regards to what you're trying to deliver here. Time to move on to the next story. This next story I really enjoyed. As you can see, a little bit of art there around the start, and some art around the middle, or roughly the middle. There is also a third story in this, but let's move into what I thought of the art right now. In this, I gave the art a 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed this story, to which I believe the story was worth $1.75. That's right, $1.75. For the story itself, I also gave it 7 out of 10. Some of the things that are introduced in this story is how the magistrate runs their prison system, or runs their reform system. And I really enjoyed that because it built onto the world that it's actually showing here. Of course, we had Cassandra Cain, Stephanie Brown, and Oracle, which also made an appearance. The locations were the Magistrate's detention facility at Gotham. And I really enjoyed what this story gave. It had a lot of potential. It felt like it could go somewhere compared to the previous story. And that's why this story gets a total overall of $3.25. Thank you very much to who wrote this story. Now to move on to the third story in this list. As we now move into the third story of this list, this did not feel like the Gotham City Sirens. I might as well call them the Captain Cosplay Sirens, because that's how it felt. The Ivy here felt like a cosplay. The Selena here felt like a cosplay. Whoever the fuck else was there felt like a fucking cosplay. This story was atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. It's stuff like this that you don't want in comics. Now, for the art, even though it was what it was, it remained consistent with what it was delivering. I gave it a 5 out of 10, to which I believe it was worth $1. Story otherwise, though, that was another thing. It wasn't really clear in what it was trying to deliver in the story. Yeah, there were some good things that were added, but this shouldn't even be in the comic. This is something that you would put up on a fucking fan fiction site. That's how terrible it was. Yes, I enjoyed the characters looking feminine. That was nice. But I'm talking art, not the actual story itself. It takes place in Gotham City. We never really get the actual location of where it takes place in Gotham City. Yeah, even though it might point it out in a sign, I'd prefer it to be shown directly to the audience. To which I gave the story 1 out of 10. To which I believe the story was worth, well, $0.10. That's how bad I thought it was. Yeah. Not happy. You can do better than this, DC. If you want to put stories like this out, maybe test them out on digital first and see how popular it is before you put it in a bloody comic like this. And this is why I've got Fool's Gold. And this is Fool's Gold at the highest degree. Don't pick this up. Don't pick this up. Well, now that's the end of this review. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Until then, let's keep it colourful. As you can see, I'm also on the road to 200 subscribers. And if you'd like to help make that possible, a big thank you to you, because it's you, the subscribers, that do help make this possible. So I can work on sharing my next goal with the audience. And you are that audience. You'll see my goal in the description below of what I want to do. I don't know what I'll do for my next big goal yet, so if you'd like to make any suggestions, leave it in the comments. It could be a live stream to celebrate the next big the next big goal I reach. I don't know yet. But I'm open to any ideas, any suggestions, and I'll probably pick the best idea that I think will work for the channel. Until then, let's keep it colourful. And if you've now reached the end of this, you are awesome.